Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Happy Tuesday. It's August 20th, 2024. Hope you are doing swell. Your week is starting off well, productively. Maybe you're on vacation. I tell you, it's a fine time to be on vacation if you are, because well, depending on where you are, because where I am, it feels like fall. Like, literally feels like fall. And typically, I would have no problem with that, but I'm like, hold up, we got a few more weeks solid of summer. More than that even, but I'd expect this weather in September, but barely at the end of August. I expect it to still be a little hot, even though certainly we had our fair share of heat this season. But yeah, it's like in the low 70s here where I am, which pretty much cancels out any type of beach ambitions for me, because if it's not 85 and up where I am, that means it's a little bit too chilly at the shore. So I need at least about a good 89 here to have a solid 80, 82 by the water. So yeah. So again, it just depends on what you fancy. I do appreciate not having to run the air conditioner, because the breeze from the outside is just perfect all day long. But I'm a little bit taken back by it. And it's supposed to be that way for a little while now. It's going to heat up a little bit in a few days, but not by too much. So anyway, interesting. Again, part of me, I'm still coming off of my sniffles and congestion. I do apologize, because I certainly don't really love when I'm on the receiving end of hearing somebody sniffle and sniff through the whole message. Not that I hold anything against anybody, because it happens, but I know it can be distracting. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for your understanding. It's one of those things, like those congestions where you could blow all day, but until it's ready to clear up, it's just not going anywhere. It doesn't stop it from running, though, which is what the sniffle is for, because you feel it running, but when you blow, not much comes out. It's like one of those things. So trust me, I've been blowing, and I blew right before I sat down. But of course, it's just one of those things where it just has to kind of run its course. And I really liken it to it being like a purge and a purifying energy, like things just kind of being released from me energetically and physically, and it's just coming out through like a cold, which is very rare for me anyway. Have a cold, I probably barely get one once a year. So the fact that it happened right around the time of this full moon, a lot of energy has been quite intense for me in my personal life at this time, and I'm sure the so-called obstinate powers that be, took their fair share of an opportunity to, capitalize on this moment, so I know there's some help with it there, but of course I'm not giving that too much light, because all things work for my good. So I know that what's being purged through my physical being now is just what's due to be released. And I'm just grateful that I have the strength and resilience to see it through. All right, so maybe you might be experiencing some cold or flu-like symptoms at this time. Don't be too alarmed. Don't think too hard about it. Just let it run its course. Care for yourself in all the spiritual, natural, and pharmaceutical ways if need be that you have access to, and allow yourself to rest. Because one thing I didn't say about this full moon, which obviously is pretty evident with it being a full moon, but it never goes without saying to rest, because we're conditioned to always feel like we got to do something and go somewhere and be up and at 'em and reactive and responsive and even proactive. But full moon energy is always, no matter what sign it's in, a call for some type of rest, regeneration, and rejuvenation. So if you're depriving yourself of that celestial right and invitation, that could also be, your body could actually be commanding it or demanding it at this time. Where if you won't resist or you won't relent, it'll kind of help you to it. So yeah. But anyway, speaking of which, the moon card. What do you know? What's the moon card talking about? Some type of mysteries, mysticism, could be, deep psychological. I'm struggling not to say fears, but it could be some aspect of that. Then you got the Two of Cups, which is about agreements. Maybe some hidden terms in an agreement. And then you got a proposition here with the Knight of Cups. Oh, hell no. Yeah, with the Seven of Cups. Yeah. This could be some type of offer or deal that is proposed. That looks like it would be something either harmless to consider, or it would even be enticing or alluring, like almost have a seductive quality to it. But behind this, the undercurrent of this offer is unclear. Either this person who's offering it, who's making the offer, is unclear, or the terms or motive in which they are extending this proposition or offer is mysterious, which means that it could be for some ulterior motive. I'm wondering though, because this person, it feels like the Knight of Cups is a different energy than what the this masculine energy in the Two of Cups might be, given that he's coming in from this side. Unless this is somebody, like I said, that's making an offer, but really is kind of like almost anticipating blindsiding somebody, or coming through their blind spot emotionally, if nothing else, in a way that somebody may not be able to detect on sight or at first, engagement. But with the Moon card though, this could definitely even be, like I was saying, like energies trying to capitalize off of the transit. Yeah, but this is giving like celestial cops here, like like the feds, the Galactic Federation, not just like the regular police. It's like if anybody's still trying to do dream magic, trying to astral project, trying to, send love spells, any type of like, bibbity bobbity boop type of energy And the lowest frequency is not to be tolerated. It's just not. It's like, even if it were to land where there was an anticipated, where on its anticipated target, the backlash is not even worth it at this time, because it's inevitable. It's like, I mean, this is kind of primitive of an example, but it's like somebody being so pressed to like strike someone, like literally strike them, like smack them, punch them, whatever. But it's like, as soon as you do that, you pretty much have to brace yourself for a hit back, like a punch back, or for some retaliation or return. And I don't know, it's just really interesting that people are still so insistent on, for instance, let's use myself as an example. if like I said, because I know I usually don't give any life to any type of like obstinate forces that I can personally account for, right? But for whatever reason, I said what I said. And say that this rare occasion of a little sniffle and a little cold and a little congestion was on account of some projection of ill will. Let's just say that this is how it has manifested. Like, oh, you got me. I got a little cough. I'm a little sniffly. You got me. How do you think it's going to return is the question. That's the mystery with the moon card. And that's the mystery that no one can really account for anymore, because the rules of the game have changed drastically in terms of what energy you expel outside of yourself toward others, particularly of an ill-willed fashion, because it's so much more intensified, that return now, that maybe once upon a time you could gauge, well, if I do this work, if I, do a little projection here, or I send, do a little jar spell, or a little this, a little that, mix a little this, a little that in my kitchen, or whatever the case may be, that you could almost kind of like formulate what the infraction may be, and almost even plan for any particular backsplash or backlash. But it's too mystical now, because it's out of the hands of, like I said, it's like there's a bigger force on the case at this point that has kind of like taken over, like almost a police state in the spirit. If that, like that, that's interesting. Where it kind of used to be like free range, like anybody could get it, anybody could throw whatever around that they wanted, and there were certain formulas and ways that you could kind of like cloak yourself, or get around this, or get somebody else to do it, and maybe hide behind their energy, and which is probably part of what I'm seeing here, like some energy still wanting to throw rocks and hide their hands, because they think that that's still a thing, when it never really was. That's the gotcha. But what's changed is the acceleration of the turnaround, of which no one could have anticipated, and no one can plan for its impact anymore, because it's not formulated. It's like above the pay grade of everyone that's in the offense or the defense at this point in time. And it really comes down to what the spiritual uh, authority, more or less, deems is fair, or deems as um, a fair punishment or a fair retort or response or charge, even like whatever it is. It's like, before you get up on that horse, you should probably really think about whether or not it's worth it to even, that meaning even to have the intention to project ill will towards someone. And that's in thought, that's in word, that's in deed, that's in the spiritual sense, in a very mystical way, that's in a practical sense, in any intrusive way. Like, everything should be managed with the utmost care at this point in time, because like, you can't account for it. Okay, exactly. Here's the Chariot and here's the Eight of Swords. This is literally like the authorities, law enforcement, and this is like jail. And here's the Eight of Pentacles. There's the man. And it's like the energy that is being so diligently, or has been so diligently invested in creating these entrapments for others outside of themselves, is literally, it's like somebody is not even realizing the burden that they are assuming for themselves. Like, it don't get no more explanatory than these cards. And then to have the Temperance, which is like literally the spiritual equalizer. Like, the movie with Denzel? Like, that's what the Temperance card is. Denzel looking all like, harmless and even, pretty safe. Like, in the Equalizer, most of the time, he kind of gives like dad vibes, you know what I mean? Like somebody that you would actually feel secure with, definitely wouldn't feel as a threat until he start whooping ass. And he gave you the opportunity to, save yourself, to pretty much like relieve yourself of the worst ass whooping you've ever had in your life. But usually, I haven't seen all the Equalizer movies, but the one or two that I have seen, if it's even been two, I may have only seen like one in totality, but it's always like he's very reasonable. Like the Temperance is very reasonable. It's like, okay, listen, this is what I'm asking of you. I need you to X, Y, and Z, let the girl go, or da-da-da-da-da, whatever. Literally, let the girl go, whatever the negotiation is, or whatever the request is, because it's not up for negotiation once he shows up. It's like, this is what I'm asking. This is what I expect. If you don't do that, you're going to fuck around and find out. And usually, they fuck around and find out. So it's just like, why? Why even put yourself? It's like all this energy spent when you could have just surrendered. You could have just complied. You could have just ceased and desisted at this point. Like, why wait until it has to be escalated to this level when angels of the highest authority, archangels, now have to get involved and regulate shit that is just common sense? Not only is it common sense, like anybody, you already know that what you're doing is wrong, but you've also been warned over and over again, and you've also had the evidence of what the consequences could be on account of the different backfires and backlashes, or failure to launch, or failure to reach target. Everything that you could have had, you know, evidence for at this time of what is just not a good idea, you continue to ignore. Why you gotta let it escalate to the point where now the damn Galactic Federation is involved, maybe even police involvement in the practical sense, where, you know, you're so out of hand that Archangel Michael literally has to come do God's work because, you know, you just refuse to be stopped. It's like, then what? Because once you see, you know, once the feds are at your door, it's a wrap. There's no excuses. They're taking everybody in the house. They're asking questions later, and really they're making assumptions later and build on a case that's already built. There's probably far less questions asked, except for the ones that are leading you to pretty much incriminate yourself and leading you to take a deal that's not going to be for your benefit. So there's that in the practical sense. And then once you see Archangel Michael, the evidence is all literally the scroll has already been unveiled as to what your crimes, your charges, your infractions are, and what now you have to answer for. There was grace before all of that to kind of get yourself together. It's like, I don't understand. I don't get it. Let's see what else we got here. I guess it's one of them days, huh? And I'm gonna take that in reverse from how it came out. The Six of Swords. Let's see, what's reversed about that? Because that's kind of strange. I usually never have that in reverse. Oh, so some folks thought that there was some celebration about getting away with something, but it was certainly misguided or diluted with this Three of Cups here under the 7. That's a 10. Okay, so this is some type of like group or organization, or some at the 10 of Cups, some type of connected camaraderie or collusion or something, you know, that pretty much had like some type of you know, some unified ambition in common, whatever that gets to be. Like I said, it could have been whatever pagan moon ritual somebody might have been doing on account of this lunation. And you know, when it comes, you may or may not know, but more or less, like when you are in the frequency of spiritual work, it works the same in the dark and the light to some degree, that you kind of have to put yourself in the spirit of success and celebration, and like, you know, to manifest that something is already completed to the fullest of your satisfaction. And that's where the delusion comes from with the 7 of Cups, because regardless of what the evidence, what they may have had evidence for, may have had warning against, may have even, you know, divined, you know, because I'm getting the sense like that there could have been some divination of projection here, that someone still was, either it was distorted in what they're able to see, or that they just like dismissed it, you know what I mean? Like, no, it's gonna work. What we got going on is this is the one, this is the big one. We just gotta, you know, keep our frequencies high all together now, and, you know, just have a big old party, dance, sing, be merry, maybe take some psychedelics or some LSD or some mind-altering substance that would literally transport you into the frequency that you are like manufacturing of yourself to manifest through. You know, like it's maybe things, like I said, that they're evidence that once upon a time had a certain result, you know, but it's the refusal to submit to the shift in time, like to respect the present moment as it is for what it is, that is really causing the void here, and what typically would be productive to be a fail. Like the Six of Swords, like it's going nowhere. It hasn't gone anywhere more than what it was, which was pretty much just a party, maybe some debauchery, you know, maybe a little ritual in the sensual capacity. Maybe that's what I was picking up on in terms of like seduction, you know, little sex magic, you know, little love magic, tossing that energy, hurling that toward a target energetically. And I've had some really interesting dreams over the past week or so, which is why this certainly, you know, I didn't anticipate it coming through like this, but even in my own personal experience, I'm already knowing what type of time people are still on. And it's perplexing, you know? Like, it's like, have we not learned? Okay, King of Swords. Have we not learned? When you think you can still outsmart the divine because you're just that clever and just that cunning, you're one step ahead of the universe. It's pretty amazing to have that level of confidence. You know, I call it delusion, but the confidence level is like through the roof with this energy and this frequency. If only that could have been invested in a more productive way. How amazing could it be for creation? Strength card. Oh my goodness. Child. It's just literally laughable at this point. Because those that are exhibiting true strength in this season are not even entertaining. You know, like I said, okay, you got me. Got a little cold, a little sniffle. You probably just pushed me to rest more than what I would have allowed myself to anyway. So, okay, thanks. But generally speaking, it's not doing what was intended, and it's not going to. Because someone is too grounded in their strength and too, like, literally blind to the bullshit at this point in time. It's like, you know it's happening, but do you give it life? Why would you? What value would that have for you at this point in time? You know, to actually give it more of a spotlight, a stage. You know what I mean? Like energetically or otherwise. Like I'm already giving it too much at this point, but hell, this is what you call transmuting, when you take an energy that's meant for negative purposes, and lo and behold, it's becoming a part of the message. Yeah, so thanks. Exactly. Like, thanks again. Knight of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, it's like it's a small thing to a giant, you know? Like, is way behind the times. It doesn't measure up. It's out of alignment. It's like, nice try and everything, but it still didn't quite make the cut. And now you have the divine to answer to. It's like, seriously? The divine is like, okay, my turn. That's the energy. Like, okay, you gave it your best shot, my turn. Now let's see how you like this. All that energy y'all want to be throwing around, dancing around, chanting, drinking yourself into oblivion, drugging yourself into a stupor, barely remembering what the hell happened the night before once you come to. I hope that you are stabilized to sustain this blowback, because it's coming. It's just the law of the universe. It ain't got nothing to do with who you thought you were sending energy to. It's Archangel Michael on the scene now. It's way out of the hands of those that were intended to be impacted at this point. This is that right here. Like, most people at this point are not even, well, it's like hands up, like not even willing to get their hands dirty to even offend, to forge an offense against an attack. It's like, why? Why would you do that? Why would you soil your cup of love, of peace, taint your cup, This is heavenly waters here. Ain't nothing tainted about this, poisonous about this. Why would you want to taint that, even with the consideration of a get back, or even anger or resentment or fear? It's like literally energies that are indifferent. And this is what it looks like on the outside in, like unbothered to some degree, but it's indifference, because it's the centric part of this energy is the strength, where you may even know that there are still forces that are so insistent about just getting a rise out of you, getting under your skin, causing you some type of disturbance. At this point, maybe even trying to like test the waters and see if they can come in and play like they're your friend, or extend a love offer, or try to, get in your good graces, just to kind of see like what's going on over there. Because they can't really tell from the outside looking in, like what they've been projecting has made an impression at all from what you look like, but it's like, most that are really standing in their true strength and power don't even feel compelled to blink, to flinch. Like it literally is that meaningless of an impact at this point to not even respond. Certainly not to have any type of like retaliatory reaction. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. Okay, Spirit says, my turn. You ready? You ready for everything you've been throwing out? Because that's all that karma is that wheel spinning right back, literally spinning the block. Making his rounds and leaving no one out. And you get karma, and you get karma, and you get karma. Everybody that wanted to have their hand in the cookie jar can now get these cookies. They're yours. You've earned them. You have rightfully earned them. And this is still here. I didn't get far, but to me, that's just like, confirmation that the grace and, the unconditional love of the divine is still constant. It never changes and it's still accessible. But the more people refuse it and want to go for these like tainted cups of poison and Kool-Aid and all soda and like, I mean, I almost said a whole bunch of other stuff, but not everything that I could name, like wine and even soda. I mean, well, soda's pretty bad for you, but not everything that I could name is even meant to be poisonous, but it's just the motivation behind the indulgence here that turns it into something diabolical. In purest form of the anti of the temperance card, overindulgence, lack of balance, self-control, like when you don't have any moderation whatsoever. You took one freaky ritual that you may have seen some results in at a time, and now you're completely obsessed and can't stop. You can't stop doing the thing that at this point is causing you harm, in the same way that one wouldn't be able to stop drinking or smoking or sexing or whatever the destructive behavior might be, even when you can tell that it's not benefiting you anymore or at all. I would feel sorry if I cared to expend the energy. The only reason why in a lot of ways I don't feel sorry is because there's been so much warning, so many trumpets have blown, so many signs and synchronicities, so many opportunities to relieve yourself of the stress, to literally repent, to love yourself or be loved in a way that maybe you can't quite commit to offhand, but you would eventually be called to if you would surrender to it. Like, I still don't honestly know what comes first, the love of the divine or the love of self. And that might sound blasphemous, but I feel like to a great degree, you kind of have to connect to self-love to even recognize your righteous right to anything more than that. You know what I mean? Like anything that you actually can't even see or in some ways, have tangible evidence for. And it really is kind of a chicken and the egg type of thing, because the divine is always showing its love for you, even when you're at your worst. That's what is always calling you back to yourself. But my point is to say that, where maybe you may not see fit to love yourself the way you deserve to be loved, it doesn't mean that the offer had ever stopped being extended. It was always there in some way, shape, or form, even in the grace to choose a different direction. To live another day beyond the last backfire you incurred, to say, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore, And yet and still, it's like some people just really haven't been able to help themselves. Now, of course, in a way of like real addiction, which I do feel is not just a disease, but I feel like it is a spiritual possession, to a great, at least a challenge, at least, but there's grace for that from me, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want it to be misconstrued that I'm like heartless or apathetic toward people that literally just may have fallen down on their luck. My issue, and I've said this before, is that typically those in that category where they're just hurting themselves don't really hurt other people unless other people open themselves to be hurt by those people. You know, like when you got a known drug addict, you invite them into your home and you leave them alone with all your possessions, then maybe, you know, if they steal a couple things to supply their habit, whose whose fault is it really? You know what I mean? But typically people that are stuck in their addiction and can't get out because that spirit has a hold of them don't usually do things to hurt other people except for out of desperation to feed that habit. I'm talking about a different spirit here of people that are more or less possessed by the spirit of causing an infraction to others. Like that is the drug for them. They can't stop. They can't stop creating illusions. They can't stop hurling curses and negative projections and doing whatever it is that they think magically and mystically helps them to get ahead. The obsession is the fact that they know that they're doing it on the back of someone else, and they won't stop no matter how much evidence there is that it's killing them from the inside out, if nothing else. I don't have a lot of sympathy for that, because the fact that, you know, like the sheer fact that it grew to be an obsession and a habit or an addiction in the first place was strictly on the matter of choice to be harmful to someone else other than you. This is not just you taking a drug that you know is beating you down. It's saying like you're now taking liberty to hurt someone else and to do it over and over and over again with no, you know, with no apologies. I feel like it's more the energy of the obsession of the activity than it even is the reward anymore, because the reward isn't even what it used to be. That's evident here. All people are really getting back, as I said, is more and more karma. More of what they're giving out. And in some cases, and an even more, and see, 10 of Wands. That's all that's coming back is more burden, more stress, more poverty, more struggle, of which once upon a time, you know, they rationalized they were averting or exchanging. You know, it made sense to exchange their misfortune or to exchange, you know, kind of like trade up, seeing someone else having a more favorable deal in life and saying, oh, I want that. I'll give them what I got. Let me take what they got. Like you don't get to make those calls in the spirit. Like you don't have the authority. You can drink and drug yourself to death if you so choose to, but the moment that you decide that gets to be somebody else's fate is the moment that you have just pretty much like damned yourself. Because that energy, great or small, is always going to have to find its way back to where it came from. Even if it makes an impact, even if it makes an impression, even if it does the job that it was supposed to do, it doesn't save you from having to incur it too. It just doesn't. Yeah, like it'll always come back to one. And then it just really is a matter of like, is it even worth it? And it ultimately, what it does is like continues to bring somebody back to the very beginning of a journey that they should have been far more advanced on by now, is what I'm seeing. Like you'd be much more ahead, as I said, if you were investing that 8 of Pentacles into your own life's work and life's mission, getting it honestly how you live. You want to do hella magic and hella spells? I mean, go off, but let it be in the way of advancing yourself. There is a such thing as light magic. Not everybody subscribes to it, but hell, like when it all comes down to it, affirmations are a form of magic. When you're speaking into your identity and changing the landscape of your mind to conceive of an ideal that may or may not even be what you see in the mirror. That's admissible. You can do that. You could talk yourself to death into who you believe yourself to be, and by God, you might actually get there with the right dedication and persistence. The Spirit would probably support you on that journey by, sending you opportunities to really enhance that identity of yourself or to prove yourself to be that to yourself, which would also be reaffirming. So it's like, it's not the issue of the mysticism or the magic. It's the motive and the intention that is just off and is not to be tolerated anymore. So like I said, where you think you're making an impression, you should probably brace yourself, because it's the stakes are so much higher now. Like, imagine this little page of wands having to carry this 10. Imagine that. His little legs would buckle under this 10. It's like the backfire now is multiplied in such a way that you may not be able to withstand it. And then the question really truly is like, is it worth it? At some point in time, you're going to have to answer that or have it answered for you. And I shudder, wow, this high priestess, and I shudder to think, the Eight of Pentacles again. And I shudder to think, what it would feel like to have that backfire hit. That's like such an unexpected return, to have it come back as a 10 and you're just here at the page. It's not something that you can plan for anymore. It's not anything that you can, take necessary precautions or have certain security measures in place. Well, if this one backfire, then we'll make sure that such and such gets hit first, or whoever your practitioner is, or whoever your middlemen sacrifices are that don't even know any better or don't know what they're involving themselves in. No, it's like it's coming back to the source, to square one, where it came from. Asking no questions, because I don't know what the heck people think Spirit needs some type of surveillance camera or proof, like the spiritual court is not the same as man's court. There's no preponderance of the evidence. There's no reasonable doubt. It's the facts. It's the truth. It's what the all-seeing eye witnessed itself. And when it gives its angelic forces, its bailiff, its marching orders, and when that, as soon as they read that sentence, the bailiff comes right behind the plaintiff, ready to handcuff them and take them off. No questions asked. You barely have time to kiss your mama, your auntie, your kids, your wife, nothing. Like, you out of there. They're already ready to execute the orders of the court. So it's like, seriously, enough is enough already. Like, for your sake and for any legacy left, you know, for those that even energetically could heed this message. You know, it's like there is no secrecy. Like, anybody that thinks they're working in secret or in the shadows, that they're going unnoticed, or even if you have, as he's kind of covered up, again, the divine sees all. God sees all. The universe makes all things equal and balanced. However you want to splice it, karma is never wrong. You know, it always finds its way back. It's not religion. It's not even spiritual, I don't think. It's probably just the mechanics of the realm that we live. I mean, of course, it can be both of those things and all of these things, but if you subscribe to nothing but just the mechanics of creation, cause and effect, whatever you expel is what you will experience in some way, shape, or form. So I don't know. Anyway, with this high priestess here, again, like I said, this could be the energy of practitioners not operating in, or even other spiritualists, tarot readers, whatever. But there really is a call to make sure that you're working in integrity, in the small ways and the great ways, like making sure that the messages that you're given are not conflicting with the truth of your own soul. You're not pandering, you know, to what the popular viewer wants to watch, you know, what they want to hear, about the twin flame, about their partners coming, or about even karmic energy such as this. You know, like, I like to be more in the frequency of like elevated concepts, things that when I watch back, I'm like, oh snap, I need to go deeper into that to see what I was talking about. That's where I like to be. So even that, it's just like, we don't have time. We literally don't have time to entertain this. And that's why the universe is not tolerant anymore of this insistence to take the stage, you know, to be a main character in this production anymore, because there are more important things to do. There are more important presentations of the spirit to be made that are also very entertaining and engaging and intriguing to those that are in the market for it, you know, that are tuned into that frequency. But it must be known at this point that, you know, like, there is no more grace for this so-called sickness of obsession and possession. It's kind of like you're on your own at this point. And the casualties are growing by the day. And the last thing that you really want to be is a casualty of something that you could ultimately choose to be healed from. I don't know. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening, I guess. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I'll leave you with peace.